The jury was back out in under 2 hours. And still, the biggest question about OpenAI's soul never got answered.
Welcome back to Musk v. Altman Daily. I'm Devin, she's Cassidy, and somehow a 9-figure AI trial ended faster than a Marvel movie and told us even less.
The verdict's in, the Oakland courtroom is empty, and today we're doing the part the jury skipped, sorting out what got resolved and what walked out untouched.
Not much in the first pile, a whole lot in the second.
From Ian Murray at The Conversation.
On Monday, a 9-member federal jury in Oakland, California, took less than 2 hours to dismiss Elon Musk's lawsuit against OpenAI and its chief executive, Sam Altman. Crucially, the jury did not rule on the core claims of the case. These included whether OpenAI, the company behind the popular artificial intelligence AI chatbot ChatGPT, strayed from its founding mission, and whether Altman and OpenAI's co-founder Greg Brockman enriched themselves at the expense of a charitable purpose.
Verdicts in. 9 jurors in Oakland, under 2 hours, and they dismissed it on the statute of limitations. Not on whether OpenAI betrayed its founding mission, and not on whether Altman and Brockman enriched themselves at the expense of a charitable purpose. Musk lost on timing. That's the answer to the jury deliberation thread we've been tracking all week.
Under 2 hours, less time than a Marvel movie, and they never even reached the actual question. Is OpenAI a nonprofit built for humanity or a corporation built for shareholders? The Conversation says it plainly, and the jury just never touched it.
And legally, that matters. Judge Gonzalez-Rogers kept the charitable trust and unjust enrichment claims alive earlier in the case. So the question isn't gone. It's just unresolved. A state attorney general, a future plaintiff, somebody else can still step through the door the judge left open.
Meanwhile, OpenAI walks out of Oakland with what the Conversation calls a clear path in the AI race. Not because a jury cleared them, but because Elon Musk filed too late. That's the win they're taking home. So the jury came back in under 2 hours and tossed the case. But wasn't this supposed to be the big reckoning for OpenAI's soul? What actually got decided?
This is the key distinction, because the jury didn't reach the merits of Musk's allegations at all. Per NPR and the BBC, the 9-person advisory jury unanimously found, and Judge Yvonne Gonzalez-Rogers accepted, that Musk waited too long to sue. They deliberated for less than 2 hours and concluded he'd blown past the 3-year statute of limitations. OpenAI argued any harm he could claim had to trace back to before August 2021, and the jury agreed. So none of the big questions got adjudicated on the facts. Whether Altman and Brockman breached a promise to keep OpenAI a nonprofit, whether the for-profit restructuring violated a charitable trust, whether Microsoft's deeper role was improper. What did come out in testimony is that Musk donated $38 million to OpenAI in its early years, and over 3 days on the stand, said the profit shift was a betrayal of the founding mission. OpenAI's attorney put it more sharply in CBS News' reporting. A hypocritical attempt to sabotage a competitor.
So if Musk is calling this a calendar technicality and says he's going to appeal, does that mean those governance questions could still end up back in court?
Exactly. Musk posted on X calling it a calendar technicality and vowed to appeal, which means the substantive claims about OpenAI's nonprofit obligations, its for-profit conversion, and its Microsoft relationship are still legally unresolved and could come back in a higher court. What to watch is whether an appeals court says the limitations clock was applied correctly, because if not, the merits trial that never happened here would still be waiting. Piedmont Exedra with Joe Dworetsky and Jay Harris.
After less than 2 hours of deliberation on Monday, a jury in Oakland rejected Elon Musk's claims against OpenAI and its leaders, CEO Sam Altman and President Greg Brockman. The unanimous ruling by the 6-woman, 3-man jury came quickly after deliberating over a trial record that contained 11 days of live testimony from more than 20 witnesses and hundreds of exhibits.
Piedmont Exedra's Day 13 headline calls it a Blockbuster AI trial that ended without answering its biggest questions. And they're right on both counts. The jury came back in under 2 hours, unanimous, on the statute of limitations. Breach of charitable trust, unjust enrichment, Microsoft's aiding and abetting. None of that got weighed on the merits. The clock killed the case, not the facts.
Under 2 hours. 11 days of testimony, 20-plus witnesses, hundreds of exhibits, and the jury needed less time than a flight from Oakland to L.A. to say, Musk, you waited too long. That's not a verdict on OpenAI's soul. That's a verdict on Elon Musk's calendar.
And the Microsoft thread goes the same way. Not because the aiding and abetting claim was heard and rejected, but because without a live charitable trust claim underneath it, it had nowhere to land. Kevin Scott's testimony, those 2018 emails, they're public record now, with no verdict attached. That's its own kind of unresolved.
I've been asking since day one whether a court was even built to answer what OpenAI promised when it was founded. Today's answer is no. This court didn't try. The conversation flags that directly. The founding mission question walks out of Oakland exactly as unsettled as it walked in.
From Barbara Ordate and Matt O'Brien at ABC7 Los Angeles.
Musk, the world's richest man, was a co-founder of OpenAI, which started in 2015 and went on to create ChatGPT. His lawsuit filed in 2024 accuses OpenAI CEO Sam Altman and his top deputy of betraying a plan to keep it as a nonprofit and shifting into a money-making mode behind his back.
The verdict's in, and ABC7's closing arguments piece already reads like a time capsule, filed Monday, describing Thursday's final arguments as if the outcome were still open. It wasn't open for long. The jury came back in under 2 hours and never touched the merits.
ABC7 called it landmark and said it could shape AI's future. The jury basically said, not our problem, he filed too late. Under 2 hours, Cassidy. Probably less than the closing arguments took.
And that's the exact irony the conversation flagged and Piedmont Exedra spelled out. Not with a bang, but a whimper. The charitable trust question, the unjust enrichment theory, Microsoft's role, none of it got a verdict. The jury said latches, the judge accepted it, and Oakland shut the door on the merits.
So the 2018 Microsoft email thread, Kevin Scott's testimony, all of it, public record, no verdict attached. I've been saying all week a procedural exit was possible. Turns out, that was the whole story.
If you follow the Musk versus Altman fight, try Anthropic Pentagon Watch, a daily briefing on Anthropic's fight with the DoD over Claude, military AI use, autonomous weapons, and AI procurement blacklisting. Find it wherever you listen to podcasts. If you want to dig further into anything we covered today, we've put the links to every story in the show notes. Tap through to the pieces that caught your ear. That's Musk v. Altman Daily for today. This is a Lantern podcast.